Hello and thank you for joining us at Easy Cooking. Today we're going to make the best cinnamon rolls that you're ever going to have. My kids love them. They're super soft and they're super delicious. My kids basically can't wait for them to get out of the oven. Before we get started, as usual, we are going to go over our ingredient list for the cinnamon rolls, for the dough. Later on we're going to go over the ingredient list for the filling and of course for the frosting. It's a little longer process. But most of it is done in the bread maker and we're going to enjoy it quite a bit at the end. So let's see what we need for the dough and then we're going to go ahead and mix it. Milk, flour, sugar, salt, baking powder, yeast, vanilla, and butter. Now that we know what we need, of course as usual, if you don't have a bread maker, make sure to mix your warm milk with your sugar and yeast and let it sit for about 5 minutes so that the yeast can activate. Then you can throw all of the rest of your ingredients and mix it all up well and let it rest for an hour and a half. But I have a bread maker, it works great. My bread maker has a dough function. So, bread maker container. First, we're gonna put all of our, besides the yeast, we're gonna put all of our dry ingredients. We'll start with the sugar. Well, all the dry ingredients besides flour. Then we're gonna do the salt. This container may have been a little damp when I filled it up. We've been cooking up a lot today. This is our second video today. We're gonna add our baking powder. Then we're gonna go to the wet ingredients. We're gonna do our vanilla. We're gonna do our melted butter. I'm trying to get all of the butter out. We're gonna pour our warm milk. Now this is about a cup of milk and I warm it up for 40 to 45 seconds in the microwave, which makes it the perfect temperature. And at the very end, of course, with your flour. Basically your flour always goes last when you're using a bread maker. All good. Gonna spread it a little. And on top of our flour, we add the yeast. Here's the yeast. That's it. Not a whole lot to it. Then we put it in the bread maker. Lock it in. My bread maker is function 12 for just dough. Get to that point here. It takes about an hour and 24 minutes for the bread maker to finish its process. When it's done, we'll come back and we'll roll out our cinnamon rolls. Meanwhile, we're going to mix our filling. We're going to record that so that we can get it prepared before the dough is ready and we're just ready to make the rolls later. Softened butter, brown sugar, cinnamon. While we're waiting for our dough, we can go ahead and mix our filling. I've already put my butter in a bowl. We're going to add the brown sugar to it. We'll add the cinnamon. We'll get a nice homogeneous mix. You don't want butter streaks or dry sugar, so I'll make sure it's mixed well. This may take just a minute. We're done mixing our filling. Basically, this is what you want to get at the end. It's pretty much one color. It's all brown from the cinnamon. I don't like when things are not mixed well, so I'll make sure to do that very good. And we're gonna just let it sit on the side until our dough is ready and until we're ready to place it on our cinnamon rolls. Our dough is ready. It's been about an hour and a half, so we're gonna get it rolling here. You could work on your surface if you want to. Just make sure it's floured up a little. I do have a silicone mat that serves a pretty good job. I love that thing. So we're gonna get the dough out. Sometimes it comes with the hardware, so just make sure you don't have your hardware in there. And we're gonna roll it nicely. It's a little sticky, so I'm actually going to use a little bit of flour to make sure it's not everywhere. All right, that should be enough. We don't need too much, just enough so that we can roll it. I am gonna try to shape it up as I'm rolling it, do my best here. What we want to do is do about 1/2 inch to 1 inch thickness. We don't want to go too thick because we want to make sure that we get that filling nicely in there. It's nice and soft. The texture turned out really good. Again, it's super easy to make those. It just takes time because you have to sit and wait for the dough to rise. Now this is pretty much what you need to do, get here with the dough. Now we're gonna go ahead and spread the filling right on top. Just feel free to blob it on there and spread it with your spatula. I'm gonna go ahead and spread that nicely everywhere. Feel free to use your fingers as needed. I probably will end up doing that at some point. And with that, we are done. Now, I need a paper towel. Now the other reason I love this silicone mat is because when you're done with everything, you can just roll it up real nice. And voila. Now we're gonna stretch it a little. So this is what you end up with at the end. Now I need a butter knife. And what I do is I try to cut it right in the middle. I kind of gauge it. I don't usually measure 100%. And then we're gonna cut each halves in small pieces. I use 2 pie shells pre-greased, of course. You can use a cake pan pre-greased, it's up to you. This makes it look a little nicer for me, and if I want to take one of them to someone else, it's easier to transport half of it this way. So we're just gonna go ahead and start cutting. One half of it is gonna go to the one pie shell, the other half is gonna go to the other. I'm just gonna try to make even pieces here, and then we're going to arrange them. Here's the first half. Try to leave some space between the pieces. That way they have room to grow. And we're going to do the other half. As you can see, I've left some space between all the pieces because we're going to leave them for another 30 minutes so that they can grow some more. I'm going to cover them with foil. And we are going to take them somewhere warm. Now, if you don't have anything warm in your home, if you have a toaster oven, it's perfect. Place them on the toaster oven lid while it's opened. And I have my toaster oven on warm. Mine has a warming function and I have it on 30 minutes. In about 15 minutes I may just rotate them so that this part that gets hotter than this part gets to cool off a little and this one gets to get a little warmer so they can rise evenly. But I'll see you in about 30 minutes. Timer just went off, it's been 30 minutes. At this point we'll take the foil off. As you can see, they've risen a little bit. And we're gonna go ahead and stick them in the oven. Now the next step is very important, and make sure to move them slow. Do not turn your oven on ahead of time. Put them in, turn your oven on 350, put 30 minutes on the timer, and check them again in 30 minutes. They may be done in 30 minutes, but they may need a few more. I'll let you know exactly how long it takes on mine. I don't usually measure it 100%, but today I'll let you know. So we'll put 30 minutes here, turn oven on 350, put 30 minutes on the timer, and we'll come back to it in a few. The reasoning I'm doing this for is as the oven warms up, it gives them a chance to expand a little more and get super poofy and super fluffy. So we'll hopefully see that at the end. Our timer just went off, exactly 30 minutes, and our cinnamon rolls are ready. They look amazing. If my wife can zoom in real quick on this one, I mean, they look fantastic. Those things are so good and so soft. So you don't need more than 30 minutes. Here's the second tray. Again, you can do one big cake pan. What we're gonna do to retain some of the moisture in them and make sure that they're extra soft, we're gonna cover them immediately. And we're gonna let them sit for a few minutes like that. Meanwhile, we're gonna go ahead and make our frosting. For the frosting, we need vanilla, milk, melted butter, and of course our powdered sugar. Now some people prefer frosting with cream cheese, we prefer it without cream cheese. Otherwise it gets a little too heavy between the cinnamon roll and the cream cheese and all the sugar and butter. It gets a little too much, so we just do the powdered sugar frosting. Here's our frosting. This is what you want to get. Nice consistency. Easy to spread over your cinnamon rolls. And you can make more frosting too. You can double up the frosting if you prefer more. We're happy with this amount. We'll let this sit for a minute, and we're gonna give these about 5 to 10 minutes to cool off a little bit and get the moisture in there. And we're gonna cover them with the frosting and see how they taste. My cinnamon rolls are still a little warm, but my frosting is getting a little thick because of the butter, so I'm gonna pour it on them. I'm gonna try to do about half and half. I don't measure, just kind of drizzle it on top. It's probably gonna melt a little bit because they're still warm, but that's okay. And that's it. Let's try them. Oh my goodness, and let's see how it is. Holy cannoli, those are soft. Like I said, do not start your oven ahead of time. Look at this thing. Oh my goodness. I'll get a little more frosting. If your frosting is not enough and you like a little more frosting on your cinnamon rolls, feel free to double up the recipe on the frosting. Nobody's stopping you from putting extra frosting, to be quite honest. But now let me show you this. Now look at this. It's so soft. It falls apart. It just comes off. Look how soft it is. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, but oh my goodness, it pulls apart. Dip it a little bit. It is so good. Soft, fluffy, perfect sugarness. I mean, if you open the rest of it, you can see the middle part is my favorite. This is the best part. It's always the softest. It's got the most flavor. Those things are good. They're a party stopper. You're gonna love them, your guests are gonna love them, and your kids are gonna love them. Enjoy, have fun. Let us know what you think of our recipes. We'll see you next time.